Jason.
Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. We are broadcasting to you live from Branson, Missouri. Exciting, lovely, luscious Branson, Missouri. And Jason has a dance competition here this week, which is why this is where we've been all week and why you haven't gotten any uploads from me and why I posted about a wax museum yesterday. We've been hanging out, doing all kinds of fun things in Branson, which is kind of like the family Vegas in certain ways. You know, there's not gambling, but there's a strip with a whole bunch of fun things to do there, and about 95 different miniature golf courses. We've only done 2 of them. We've got 93 left to go. No, right? Jason, what kinds of things have we done since we've been at Branson on our vacation together? Well, just me and Jason this trip. Nobody else is with us because my wife, real quick, by the way, is really super pregnant, and she's going to deliver our twins in a few weeks. I almost said any day now. It really feels that way. We're hoping, of course, that she carries as close to term as possible, but usually Sarah takes Jason on this trip for his dance competition every year, and this time I got to do it because my wife can't travel at this point. So what kinds of cool stuff have we been up to, Jason?
Well, we played some card games and some board games. We went to this really cool board game shop. Not a board game shop. We did go to a lot of board game shops, but board game cafe.
Yeah.
And we played a whole bunch of board games there.
They've got 1,000 games there that you can try out, and we basically just hung out there all day on Monday.
Yeah.
Tried a bunch of different games, had dinner there. I had a fantastic veggie sandwich, like hummus thing that they have. It's delicious.
And I had a...
There's Austin. Hi,
I almost
Austin.
said BLT.
Where's the mayonnaise?
I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was really good.
This is riveting. It really is. We did go-karts this morning?
Yeah, that was tiring because I got to wear a helmet and I was just the right age. You need to be 11.
You had to be 11, and they let him in at 11. I guess it's the most dangerous go-kart course out here. So I took Jason to the most dangerous go-kart course. That wasn't my intention, but that's what it ended up being. I just kind of picked one. I threw a dart. We wound up with the dangerous one. It wasn't dangerous. It just apparently is the most of them. Robert Wild says he just saw a face in the crowd. You're right. It's brilliant. Yes, everybody watch that movie. 1957.
I watched the first hour and 30 minutes of it, and didn't watch the
movie.
last.
You got to finish it. It's just brilliant.
I'll finish it.
It's just brilliant. Okay, I hope everybody can hear me okay. This is not can hear us okay. But I said me specifically because my throat's been kind of weird today. And I decided I was well enough to do this, but I've had I'm not sick, but I just had a weird throat thing. It's been a little bit sore today. But also this is not the best mic because we're playing. I was reading a message from Austin where he's once again bragging at how he's better than me at Mario Kart. But we're using a tablet that has not the world's best mic, but we've used this for live shows before, and it tends to work out okay. So anyway, as always on the Captain Logan Show, we are, of course, this a little different tonight. We don't have the bells and whistles. We don't have OBS because to this day, there's not a way to do OBS on a tablet, which is unfortunate, but it's a thing that is difficult to do without multiple screens anyway, so...
Yeah.
Whatever. But we're going to answer your questions for at least an hour. However, how long we end up feeling like going after that or how much interest there is, I don't know how up to going past an hour tonight I'm going to be. I'm exhausted, to be perfectly honest with you. We've done a lot of stuff on this trip, but we thought we'd pop in and hang out with you, do a little live father and son / Captain Logan show. And we're going to answer, as we always do, any super chats that come in. As definite. So if you want to make sure that your question or comment is read on air, we will. You can leave a super chat in dollar amount, and that will guarantee that. But we'll read as many as we can. Otherwise, don't have a moderator tonight, so bear with me. I will just direct those at me, and I will read as many of them as we've got time for. Rainbow Nightmare, is this an Android tablet? I once saw Freddie reading comments on a Surface Pro 2, and that's Windows, or is that not the best to stream on? No, this is just an iPad. Tom says it's not allowing super chats. Okay, so I thought that might be the case tonight. Let me level with everybody real quick. I don't want to get into too much of nitty gritty behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, kinds of stuff. The channel is at the moment not partnered, which is weird because of course I've been a YouTube partner for a decade. But we used to be with a network. We were with Machinima, and then Machinima went under, and they were bought out by a company called Fullscreen. And Fullscreen has started dropping some of its members, including us. And I don't know if they're moving away from the multi-channel network kind of format, or if they've just decided that we're not the kind of channel that they want to support anymore. But they dropped us officially just a few days ago. I knew about this for the last few weeks, and I knew there would be something of a transition time, but I didn't realize that YouTube, but I thought it would be like 24 hours or something. I didn't realize that YouTube required you to repartner if you were dropped by a multi-channel network, and which means that I'm basically back at square one, and nothing is monetized right now, and apparently I also can't take super chats. I wasn't sure about that part, but that apparently is the case. Even though I also do have an AdSense account, it's not, the AdSense account isn't immediately connected to the YouTube channel to where you can receive payments. Even though I've got one, you're just right back to square one, even if you have a history with them with that before. So that's a little frustrating. But we'll work through it, and this is just one more irritating hurdle. We've been through these things before. But anyway, hopefully it doesn't last too long. They have to manually check your channel and make sure that you're okay for being partnered. Again, we were years ago, and we have been with a multi-channel network for 8 years. So I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not annoyed about it, because it is really frustrating. I would think you'd be grandfathered in if you'd been in before and if you didn't have strikes or anything, but apparently not. So I hope everybody understands if you see me, even before I go on official hiatus, posting a little less often, just because I'm not getting paid right now, and I don't mean to make everything about view count and everything about money, but I have to prioritize things, and basically I'm not able to do my job the way we usually do. Of course, we still have Patreon and such, so I'll be fine. Nobody worry about me, but it just it's kind of obnoxious. So Daniel Davis says it's okay, Cap, take a break if you need it. Yeah, and I've been on the fence about going ahead and taking my hiatus early. That could end up happening. I've got a couple things that I have to do. We're definitely going to try to do the Simpsons Season 3 overview in a couple of weeks at least, because Jeff's going to be on that show, and he's already watched the season for it. Austin and I have not yet, so we're going to try to get to that soon. But anyway, there's some little kind of house cleaning stuff. You might bear with me a little bit. It's kind of warm in this room, but if I turn the air on, it's going to be really super loud. So, yeah. Ring of Nightmare, Cap, thoughts on Luca? I'm not interested, but I like that it's going to be on Disney Plus for free. Does Disney not care about Pixar, or does Pixar think if it's on streaming, it should be free? I wouldn't think that Pixar would have that much say in that, but maybe it's hard to say, because Disney is the distributor. So I would think that they would have the last say on whether or not that would be a premium thing. But it's weird that Pixar movies so far have been not premium things, but when it's a direct Disney thing, like Mulan and like Black Widow, and I guess they just did that with Cruella. It's premium. See, I'm not sure. Maybe they figure families won't pay for that stuff, but I would think that. But then they had, well, I don't know, because the argument from the horse's mouth was, well, a family that goes to the theater altogether spends a lot more than $30, so they're getting a bargain, which of course is ridiculous because the experience is different. I've talked about this before, but sitting at home all gathered around a TV, even though you don't have to pay separate ticket prices, different experience than going to a movie theater, seeing it large and with a crowd and such. So it's a dumb argument. I never liked that. But anyway, I'm not sure why they're doing that. So yeah, let's see what else is in here. And Jayson, what has been your favorite part of this trip so far? We've done all kinds of fun things together.
I think actually my favorite part so far was probably the wax museum. We went to a wax museum, and you posted about it.
And I posted some pictures on Facebook if you want to take a look at that.
And it was pretty cool. And we did a whole bunch of stuff. We did a wax museum, and we did mini golf, and we did a maze of mirrors, which kind of made me delusional for some reason.
It made you delusional. He
Well,
was
not
saying he
delusional.
was saying things. He thought monsters were chasing him.
No.
For the next 6 hours,
I
he
said
just kept going. Do I still have a reflection, Dad?
I saw the wrong. I said the wrong word. I don't even remember what the right word is, but
You were disoriented.
disoriented.
Mm-hmm. You know what you look like right now? Jayson just lost another tooth. You look like the Joker when he gets punched out at the end of Mask of the Phantasm. He's got that big gap in his teeth. That's what you look like right now.
Then we right before mini golf, we did the what the heck was that thing called? Castle of Chaos. We had like these 3D glasses, and it was pretty cool.
It was a ride where there's a big screen and you shoot it. You know, there's a lot of these kinds of things at theme parks. We did a thing sort of like it at Disneyland with Star Wars, but this was interactive where you shoot. It's basically a rail shooter with a whole bunch of people, where you're shaking a lot and there's a lot of air being blown in your face and that kind of thing. It was fun.
But it was like horror, so it was like super scary, and there were clowns, and I wasn't.
It was very House of the Dead.
I wasn't scared until the end when there was this clown that got right in your face, and it got like right because it looked like it popped off the screen like right in your face, and it was. I screamed.
He freaked out. That was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
My favorite thing has just been going to that board game cafe and hanging out there all day long and trying a lot of different games. We've been on a real board game and card game kick lately.
Yeah.
And we just started getting into the DC deck building game, which I'm loving. And it's funny because I have a 2-player version. All of those things like stack on top of each other, and you can play. You can mix and match them, but a lot of them play separately just fine too. And we've got one that's just 2-player. And I've had it in my possession for 7 years, and I just kept forgetting to pull it out and play it. I got it on the comic documentary trip back in 2014, and we just played it on this trip. We brought it with us, and I loved it. And we're going to start getting into that game a little bit pretty soon, I think. Somebody asked me earlier, I didn't finish that question, to give my thoughts on Luca. I don't really know anything about that. I saw the trailer, and I'm not remembering much about it. So, you know, it's Pixar, so I'll try it, but I don't really have any thoughts yet.
Yeah. I saw a question.
Yeah, sure. And of course, feel free to throw stuff at Jayson specifically if you want to.
Yeah. And March, Jayson and Cap, what most excited you from E3?
So we've been on vacation, and I've been kind of on media blackout. Jayson has read some articles here and there about certain things. We may do something on E3 next week, specifically probably about Nintendo stuff. Jayson and I did a video together. I haven't talked to Dan yet. He and I used to do E3 stuff, and if he's interested, we may do something. Usually, these days, I don't end up caring as much because PlayStation's not there. But Nintendo had a lot of different announcements, and I also follow Arcade 1-Up, and they had some announcements this year too, so I would probably have more things to talk about. But you saw a few things.
Yeah, and my favorite thing was probably Metroid Dread. I freaked out when I saw that article, and like Metroid Dread was real, and I'm like, wait, Metroid Dread is real? So Metroid Dread was originally a rumored game. This was like 15 years ago, and it was a rumored game, and then Nintendo, someone from Nintendo acknowledged that they were doing it, and they had just been holding it off for a little bit, and that turned out to be 15 years, and then
Crazy.
They finally are doing Metroid Dread on Switch, and I'm excited. It's going to.
Have they shown any gameplay yet?
I think so, but I haven't. Yeah, they have, but I haven't seen any gameplay yet. It's apparently going to be a follow-up to Metroid. I don't remember what that game is called. Metroid Fusion. Metroid Fusion. It's a Game Boy Advance game, and it's the sequel to Super Metroid.
We've been playing some Super Metroid on this trip, and I've never gone through it. I've played, the beginning a few times, but I never got any farther than that. And it's a trip, man. That game is wonderful. And I don't know, it's a really satisfying experience because it's not so hard that I can't get through it, but it's also wonderfully challenging, and I'm really enjoying it. I say I can't. It's not that I can't get through it. I mean, I haven't finished it yet, but we've gotten a couple hours in. Blessed Sim. Oh, were you guys even aware that Picard season 2 trailer dropped? Not that I or you guys care anymore. Yeah, I had heard about that. I haven't watched it yet.
Wait, seriously?
Yes, and apparently they're shooting 2 and 3 back to back, which makes sense when your protagonist is played by an 81-year-old man. Now that I know they're doing that, I'm a little surprised they didn't do it in the first place. I mean, it can't be because that show was super successful, so they're like, oh man, we better hurry up and make 2 more.
Oh no, they're doing Q.
Yeah, so that I knew because there was a teaser a while back, and John Delancey's been posting about it, and he's talking like he's having a lot of fun being with some of that cast again and excited about being on set, but he's saying the same thing that Patrick Stewart said at the beginning and that you hear a lot of people on that show say, which is, this is a different version. Yes, and by different, I'm sure we continue to mean, without saying it, really immature, violent for the sake of violent, and I don't know, cynical for no good reason, while throwing out flimsy platitudes about hopefulness and altruism. I would love it if that was not the case for the second season, but there is no reason to think that suddenly the wheel will be reinvented after 3 seasons of Discovery and a season of Picard. Not to mention, Lower Decks, which I saw the pilot of, and no more. And I haven't seen the 3rd season of Discovery either because I don't want to.
Yeah,
and as I've said before, I may at some point, but I don't want to. Apparently, they have, Jayson, I heard about this the other day. I think Bag told me about this. This is what Bag told me, okay? I've not looked into this. I've not seen footage. Apparently, they personified the Guardian of Forever and just made him a guy named Carl.
What?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, Picard is basically Discovery and TNG mixed together. If you can call it TNG. It's basically TNG characters.
Blessed Sim says he saw clips of that. Man. Jeez. I don't know. I feel like we're in a place right now where everything is going to happen at some point just because it hasn't happened yet. Tom asked a question a minute ago. Oh yeah, he wanted to know if I've seen any Loki yet. Jayson, the Loki show has started. It's already at least a couple episodes in, if not 3. I have not yet. I'm just behind, and I've been working on family stuff and taking Jayson on vacation, and I have not taken a look at it yet. So we were planning on doing a how we felt about live on the channel this weekend, Sunday or Monday. I don't know if that's still happening right now, given the situation with the channel and life stuff and things like that. So I will keep everybody up to date, but we may honestly just kind of start the hiatus now and interrupt it with things that we absolutely have to interrupt it for. We'll definitely do a spoiler cast regardless of where we're at with the monetization. But anyway, Jedi Knight, if I had a nickel for every time a Metroid game was the highlight of a mediocre E3, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't much, but it's weird it happened twice. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know how mediocre it is because I haven't looked at any of the rest of the announcements, but has Nintendo dropped any just giant bombshells yet? Because, I guess there's Breath of the Wild 2, but people were predicting that.
And they had already said that they were doing that.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was basically, I think that was like an overview trailer because they had already done a teaser like 4 years ago.
Oh, yes, Blessed Sim. There's all you talk about Picard. He says, don't forget Slapdash Riding Cap. Yes, indeed. Plotted scene by scene. Picard is like watching Gotham in the Star Trek universe, and sadly in more ways than 2. Rainbow Nightmare, have you watched Craig McCracken's new Netflix show, Kid Cosmic? I keep meaning to, and I've gotten some suggestions to look at that. Blue Dragon 5 has been telling me for a while that I should take a look at that. Thomas Lowe, Picard is non-canon. It's hard to imagine that it is canon. It's hard to look at any of that stuff under Kurtzman, as real Star Trek.
Brian Panigua, have you watched the Rocky IV director's cut?
No.
Didn't even know there was.
I didn't know about that. Did that recently come out, or is that just a thing that's been around for a while? I didn't even hear about that, or if I had, I'd forgotten. Busted Sim, I've also finished the Enterprise section of the 50-year mission. Isn't that fascinating and wonderfully entertaining and surprisingly kind of tell-all? Reading about the start of 09 and the Abrams, Kurtzman, and Orsi interviews have been an exercise in anger control for me. Yeah, if I had that section, I listened to in audiobook form, and if you don't know what we're talking about, this is the oral history of Star Trek, told between 2 volumes. That was edited by Grosson, and Altman. Guys, forgive me, my throat is weird and worse than I thought it was. I would have probably closed the book if I had been reading that and wasn't, like cleaning my house while I was listening to something. Daniel, Rocky IV Director's Cut apparently removes the robot, which is a big no-no for me. I mean, I could take or leave that. The robot is weird, but if that's all it does, anybody could do that. Yeah, the director didn't like the robot, so he took it out. Spend $30 to buy Rocky again.
Without the robot.
Juntai, which creator gets the character of Batman more often than not? Tom King or Zack Snyder? I can't say more often than not. In the case of Zack Snyder, I guess I don't know. I feel like the issue is he doesn't. I don't even know if it's that Zack Snyder doesn't get Batman as it is that he doesn't know how to communicate what he's trying to communicate to the screen. He wanted to kind of push Batman to his limits. Morality-wise and violence-wise, and then bring him back and make him something more traditional, and it just doesn't quite work. I also don't think the issue is that Tom King doesn't understand Batman. I think he's got actually, in a lot of ways, and I said this at the beginning when I was liking his stuff more, I think, because I love the first couple arcs of that, but I think Tom King's Batman is essentially my Batman. It's just that he gets really super redundant, and it becomes an exercise in melodrama in a way that it wasn't at the beginning. And later on in his run, he starts repeating himself on a whole lot of different levels, not just the phrases that keep coming back over and over again. And it gets really convoluted and becomes one of those, once again, kind of a Mon from Spawn level villain plots where you have a bad guy who retroactively we say did everything that or all along you guys forgive me, it's just really hot in this room. All along he was able to manipulate the hero because he knew exactly what they were going to do at every step, and it's really silly and ultimately ridiculous, and I think that I was really taken seriously, and found really interesting on a thematic and character level. I could not take seriously anymore. So, I mean, it's difficult to compare that and BVS because I think they have really different problems. But yeah, folks, I'm going to answer as many questions as we can here. But like I said, it is really hot in this room, and it's kind of difficult to focus. So I don't know if we're going to go for a full hour. I'm going to try if we can. Are you feeling funky?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm really hot sitting here.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Busted Sim, Jayson, how much of the 90s Spider-Man animated series have you seen? It's all up on Disney+. I know I also asked in the comments of The Last Father and Son, which was a great video, by the way. Thanks. Yeah, we know that's on Disney+. Jayson, you've seen a few episodes of that here and there, right?
Yeah, I probably watched the whole show, but I don't remember any of it.
Yeah, guys, I can't turn on the air right now because it's a unit in a hotel room and it's really loud, so it'll drown us out. You won't be able to hear us if I do that.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Blue Dragon 5, and it seemed fine when I walked in because we just got back from dinner. And just the longer I've sat here, the more I'm like baking. But thanks for understanding, guys. Captain Phasma. It's your old favorite Star Wars character from when you were a little kid, Jayson.
Yes.
Captain Phasma, thoughts on the current X-Men comic run? Interested to hear your guys' thoughts if applicable. Glad you're having a good vacation. Thanks. I don't have anything else to say besides what I've said already in the initial review that I did with Eric on Power of 10 and House of X. I loved that a lot. I read through it a couple times. I have not read anything else after that yet. I'd say that. I think I read the first issue of the ongoing main X-Men series because there's a bunch of books besides right after that a couple months ago, but that's all I've read. DeJuan Patterson Powers, what do you think of Connor from Angel? Jayson has not gotten that far, and I don't want to give away too much for Jayson. And it's been a little while since we watched Angel, but he and his mom and I were watching through that show, and he's about halfway through season 1. So Jayson doesn't know who Connor is, and I don't want to give that whole thing away, but all I'll say is I liked it a lot more than my wife did, and she doesn't care for a lot of the stuff around that with Wesley and everything in general. It seemed like a pretty typical thing, the aging up thing we do with that character, and I'm going to speak as much in code as I can, the Hell Dimension stuff and all of that. The way it kind of, I just thought of this, the way it kind of thematically parallels, or even just, parallels in the events, in the history, with what happened with Angel in season 2 Buffy when he goes to the Hell Dimension is actually pretty interesting. But that's one of those, kind of teenage young adult characters that can get kind of whiny and irritating. Like I said, I like him better than a lot of people do. I think what we did with him from season 4 to 5 was a big misstep. The kind of resetting everybody's memories with him and all of that thing. Jayson won't remember any of this when we get there, but I don't want to give away who that character is, or he might remember some of this. But yeah, it's some of that, again, gets a little bit convoluted and is a little bit typical TV. But I liked their dynamic a lot. I forget that actor's name, but him and Boreanaz, I felt like it had a really good dynamic and relationship. Adam March, favorite episode of Father and Son you've done so far?
I've done a lot.
That's fun, thanks. Yeah, we've shot, 13, 14?
I mean, my favorite is one that
we haven't posted that many?
Posted yet.
Well, feel free to tell people about one upcoming if you want to. We're about 4 ahead on those. We could have posted one this week while we were out of town, and I just didn't think to do it.
Well, of the ones that we posted, my favorite is probably my the top 10 video games.
Same here, actually. That's what I was going to say.
My favorite review was probably one of the Lost ones.
Oh, really?
Either one of the Lost ones or the one for Firefly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
It was fun talking about Birds of Prey with you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed getting to do that.
I forgot about that.
We were hoping to do some Smallville together. I don't know if that's still going to happen, but we're going to try.
Yeah. I think we watched the whole season, but I don't remember any of it, so.
Thomas Lowe, there's a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. Is it official? Have they officially put out a Schumacher cut? I hadn't heard that. If that's the case, I mean, I know exactly what we put back in it. If that's the case.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. There were a couple of really short deleted scenes that are the kind of thematic and character crux of that entire movie that are taken out, and so the movie's not complete now, which is a mistake. Like, one of my favorite things about that is the idea that Bruce Wayne would have repressed memories even though he remembers his parents' death, and that the repression would be, we've talked about this a lot on the channel, but you haven't heard about this, the repression would be, he remembers that his parents were killed, and he saw that happen and everything, but he doesn't remember the reason he blames himself. So he has a lot of guilt about his parents' death, but he doesn't remember why, and it's because it's that kind of classic origin thing with Batman where he wants to go to the movies, and his parents don't want to go. And I really like, by the way, how Batman Earth One handles that whole thing, where there's kind of a like entitled rich kid thing with all of that also, where if only Bruce hadn't told the guy who ends up murdering his parents that who he is, his parents probably wouldn't be murdered. So like that's the most actually responsible for his parents' death I've ever seen him, and that whole thing is fascinating. The third volume of that just came out. I haven't read it yet because I'm reading back through the first two first, and I'm hoping to review that. I was planning on doing that next week. Again, with the situation with the channel, I don't want to promise any reviews right now. I may have to wait until we get some things, we get everything sorted out monetarily, but yeah. Thomas Lowe says there's a petition for it. I would love it if that actually came out. That would be wonderful. My ex-wife is a cow. Welcome back. Game comes to you to design. Yes, he has an insane name. We'll just move on. Game comes to you to design a Pokemon. What does the Pokemon you design? I guess he means what is the Pokemon you design? So not what would the game be like, but just come up with a Pokemon, Jayson.
They've already made a Pokemon that's like a piece of pie.
But you know what? At the point that you have the pie Pokemon, there are no more ideas, right? Like there's like you have to
I'm
have
pretty sure
exhausted
they've already made
everything at the point that you've done the
and
pie
they've
Pokemon.
already made a chandelier.
That's fantastic. There's a chandelier Pokemon.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's called Chandelure, and it's a ghost and fire Pokemon. I guess I would make a. Just a minute. I need to come up with a name for this.
Okay. You gotta make it punny, you know.
Oh.
Well, you don't have to. It's better if it is. Okay, just what's your idea for the Pokemon, even if you can't come up with a name?
Okay, I don't even remember what it was.
Okay, well, you keep thinking.
Okay, I'll keep thinking.
I think there should be a Gilbert Gottfried Pokemon. Who's just the Affleck dog. He just goes around and says Affleck. His name is just Affleck. Or the Pokemon is called Affleck, and he looks like Ben Affleck, but he talks like Gilbert Gottfried, and he says Affleck over and over again. He's a cross between between Ben Affleck and a duck, and he sounds like Gilbert Gottfried.
Bowl of Fruitmon.
Bowl of Fruitmon. That's Divid 22. I don't think you can beat that.
Tikimon.
That's pretty good. Busted Sim. See, this is why I like Digimon, because they start out as normal things like dinosaurs, but then they turn into gun-toting refrigerators. That's great. Okay, I'm going to scroll up a little bit and see if there are some other questions that we've not looked at yet. Jedi Knight, if you had to interview a villain, risk-free, I assure you, which one would it be? Who would be interesting to sit down and talk to? My answer is Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil show. Easily one of the most fascinating villains ever put to screen or paper or anything.
Okay, I think I have
And
it.
Smallville Lex too, but not past a certain point, because he kind of just becomes, mustache twirly.
Batman.
Not that he can actually, twirl a mustache, because he can't have hair. Although I don't know if he can grow facial hair. That's always been a question with me with Smallville Lex, is can he grow hair on any other part of his body? I don't know. There's no telling. Well, he must, because he has hair on his arms.
Yeah.
So that's weird, right?
So
meteor shower. Did you think of this when you watched the pilot? The meteor shower affects his body in that it just makes him not be able to grow hair on top of his head.
Yeah.
That's preposterous.
So, oh my gosh, David 22.
He just keeps throwing a bunch of Pokemon.
So I would want to make a Pokemon called Ricey, and he would be Sushi.
Ricey?
Yes.
That's pretty good. Or you could pick a particular kind of sushi.
His name is California.
California. So he's a California roll who
Yeah.
talks just like the kid from The Wizard.
Mhm.
And his name is California. He just says California.
Or his name is Roll.
That's brilliant. Roll, and he just goes roll.
Roll.
No, I think his name should be Wasabi. Hear me out. Wasabi. And that's just what he says. And then sometimes he's like, and then sometimes he goes what? And sometimes he goes sa. Sometimes he goes bee. We played a card game called Sushi Go.
Yeah.
It made me really hungry. I love sushi.
Did Jayson ever cosplay as John Kent?
That'd be fun, but you'd probably want to have me cosplay as Superman, and I'm very short. I would make a terrible Superman. Although right now I could be the Superman from the mid-90s.
Yeah,
with
because
the
you're like...
crazy long hair in the back.
Yeah,
Because I'm like,
Superman?
I think Superman. I think we've been doing Ursa all week long. Ursa from Superman 2. Superman.
Superman?
But yeah, that would be fun. Have you read any comics with John Kent? Probably not with the Superman's kid.
No.
Some of the Super Sons books are pretty cool. I haven't read anything past that first run, but I don't think I've read all of it. But yeah.
What's Bloodshot?
Bloodshot is a bad movie with Vin Diesel that you did not see.
Why does Divid22 think that I saw it?
I don't know. That's good. That's a good question.
Because
I would not have thought to show that to you.
I need to see Bloodshot.
But yeah, that was is that a Valiant thing? I can't remember. That's an early '90s comic that was trying to do the Image thing from another company.
Oh, it's a comic about
And
a
there's
man.
a shared universe with a bunch of those characters.
Okay.
Rainbow Nightmare. I tried to play Sword and Shield, but I got bored with it. Last time I played it was like 4 months ago or something.
Okay.
Well, what's your response to that? You've played some of that, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
I don't have that game. I want it for my birthday.
I can't keep track of all those titles. Is it
Yeah.
the most recent one that came out?
Yeah.
That's right.
I have Let's Go. I'm not going to tell you which one. But... No, I have Pikachu.
Yes, Pikachu. Yeah. So, you got some cool stuff on this trip.
I did.
Yeah, you want to talk
Oh,
about
yeah. Should I go grab them?
that? I mean, if you want to.
A few of them.
I don't know if anybody will care. This
Here
is
are just a few of them.
a few of them. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to care, but you can totally bring those over.
Yeah, I'll bring them over.
Everybody, thanks for joining us for this really low-key Captain Logan show. I'm feeling a little bit better with the heat now. I was fading there for a minute pretty hard. I think I've got a little bit of second wind. Jason's going to show you some cool stuff that he got on this trip.
Just a minute. I have to grab one more thing.
So yeah, I apologize for my really low energy right now, but it's a little bit difficult to talk. Just the last couple of months, my throat's been really weird when I get up in the morning, and today it's lingered with me all day long. And I'm just really tired. Like I said, we've been doing a lot of stuff this week. We've been kind of going and going and going.
Okay, so...
I mean, there's been some nice downtime. Jason and I have, like he said earlier, played a lot of card games and board games and video games a little bit too. But I've also been on my feet a lot, going to a lot of different places. Here in a little bit though, since we're kind of just talking about our vacation and life stuff, I might let everybody in a little bit on what I've been doing nutrition-wise and stuff lately, because I've kind of dramatically changed a lot of things. And some of you might find that interesting. If you'll indulge me, I was gonna save that for an after dark, but it didn't come up last time, and I'm not sure when we'll do that next. So,
okay, so when was this? Tuesday. We went to this crazy video game store, and it had.
I wish we'd taken more pictures.
So many video games. It had a Sega Nomad, and it had Game and Watches.
So brilliant. So he's talking about this brilliant retro game store that we went to. I don't remember the name of it right off. That's in Nixa, Missouri, which is about 40 minutes outside of Branson. And they had a bunch of in-box stuff that I've not seen outside of the video game museum in Texas. And what else did you see, Jason? There's a boxed Virtual Boy.
Yeah, and they had 2 Mario's Tennises for Virtual Boy, and they had a whole bunch of Saturn games, a whole bunch of 64 games. They had a whole bunch of stuff. But do you want me to tell them what I got?
Yeah, quick plug for this place. It's called Game World, and it's in Nixa, Missouri, and really reasonable prices on stuff too.
Yeah.
They had, I mean, obviously really pricey on the inbox stuff, but I mean, it's gonna be. But they had an inbox of Vectrix. A lot of stuff that they had. I kind of want this, but I don't want to pay $130 for it. But they had a sealed in-box Nights into Dreams with the circular controller. Yeah, did you not see that?
No, I didn't.
They had a regular copy and a boxed one with the controller. And I still have mine, but to have an in-box one just to display would be really, really cool.
They had Sonic CD.
Yeah, on the original hardware, which I really wanted to pick up, but I have not been buying stuff for myself. I did make one minor exception for that this trip because I found some really, really well priced. We also went to a great comic shop yesterday, which I would not have walked into if it weren't for the fact that we were trying to kill some time before an arcade opened that we wanted to go play pinball machines at. Oh, I should talk about that too.
Yeah.
For the 2.5 people who will care. But I did get a few covers for Power Rangers issues that are variants that were just really, really well priced that I haven't seen a lot, that weren't real expensive. And that was exciting. But I really limited myself, and I talked to my wife about it ahead of time. And I said, this is stuff that I actively collect, and I've not been collecting hardly anything this year, and I will not run into these prices again. And she said, you should probably go ahead and pick those up. So I did.
So.
But yeah, what did you get, man?
So I got an original DS. It was at a really good price. I got it for $50. And it still works. It works really well. And I had never actually played an original DS, and we both like it better than the DS Lite.
We're apparently just silly, crazy people, because Jayson said that a lot of people like to make fun of the original DS for how bulky it is. I liked the heft of it better. The DS Lite always felt like I was going to break it, and in fact I did break one, not just holding it, but the DS Lite, you notice how with the original the top is held on with a hinge just in the middle. The hinges on the DS Lite are on the sides, and it's easier for those to break off than you might expect, because one of those broke off on me just on the inside of a trench coat, like when it was closed. I don't even know how that's possible. But that was drove me crazy. Now, the Nintendo hardware is so good that this thing still played miraculously, and I was able to get a case and just hold it together, and I was still able to play it. I don't have that one anymore. But this doesn't have that. And like I said, I like the heft of it. This one has, a really nice color. But yeah, and also the GBA games don't pop out of the slot on the bottom. They're not sticking out of the bottom.
Yeah. And yeah, I got a couple Game Boy Advance games. I got when I got the DS, I wanted to get a game for it to test the DS with and to play on the trip. So I got a couple Game Boy Advance games. So I got Lego Star Wars 2. That's mirrored, but whatever.
Just for us.
For us?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Mario versus Donkey Kong. And I just got Mario versus Donkey Kong.
I think just for us. If we're mirrored right now, I don't know why.
Yeah. Just a few hours ago.
Ooh, let me put a pin in this. Thomas Lowe, what is the best looking pinball machine you've ever seen? We're going to talk about that here in a minute.
Yeah. and I actually have not played this yet. So I'll do that in a little bit.
So yeah, Jason's money has gone a real long way this trip. He's been saving up forever, mostly for this trip, and I think he has spent his money rather well. I want to talk pinball machines for a minute. So I have been on kind of pinball kick off and on for the last couple of years, ever since I went to the pinball convention in Texas, which is in the same town as the town's not coming to me right away, but it's in the same town as the video game museum. And I just stumbled upon it when I was there a couple of years ago. Didn't even know that the museum or that convention was happening. I was just there to see the museum, and then there's this pinball convention. I'll go to that. So I did, and it was great. And I've always, kind of casually enjoyed pinball, but I've never been great at it. And I realized it's just because I haven't messed around with it enough to develop any skills. And I'm still not great, but I'm working on it and trying to get better at pinball. And so yesterday we went to a really cool arcade that we found last time we were in Branson called 1984. And it's primarily, as the name would suggest, all about 80s nostalgia before it's anything, but they've got a pinball machine side, and the other side is pretty strictly 80s to very early 90s video games. Oh, did you want to show that off real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, do that real fast.
Okay. Well, and I mean, you can keep talking.
Just do that real quick,
okay.
Real fast.
So, I'm back. So at the comic shop that we went to, they had posters, and I actually got a poster. I got this really cool Bowser poster that I really like, and I
cool.
got it. And
Blessed Sim, wow, those are some hefty portable game cartridges. Yeah, and the nice thing about them is it's harder to lose them than DS or especially Switch.
Yeah. And
I'm starting to wish that we hadn't gotten anything physical on Switch. As much as it would break my heart to not have physical games because they're really easy to lose, and I've had to buy Mario Odyssey twice now.
Yeah. And at the Wax Museum, I actually got this card. I got the Slasher license, and I had to get Jayson Voorhees because I'm Jayson. And
that makes it okay for Jayson Voorhees to murder people.
And
he has a license for it.
And I kind of collect Jayson Voorhees because I'm Jayson. I don't have a big collection, but And his restrictions are a machete. That's his restrictions.
Dagan Spear wants to know if I've seen the Titan Season 3 trailer. I have not been keeping up with that, so I didn't know that there was a trailer for that yet. I've only seen the pilot of that show. I absolutely hated it. Nothing I've heard about that makes me think it would be a thing that I would like anymore as I continued on, so I have not bothered with it. Again, I'm not saying I never will. I have recently watched some really terrible, crappy things that I knew were bad. Before I got back into them, went ahead and did it anyway, just to know what happened. And I just finished season 5 Gotham, which I've been putting off talking about because it was just the lamest thing imaginable. I mean, yeah, again, I keep using this word, still crazy convoluted, still characters that don't feel anything like real people, still no longer, for the most part, like crazy, insane bad, so almost so bad it's good, in that kind of way, where like it knows that it's stupid, and then it just barrels ahead and does what it's gonna do. Like, yeah, it's still stupid, but it's kind of it ends up going back to in that 4th and 5th season to like I can't decide just how stupid the show itself thinks it is. It doesn't seem all that self-aware, and then it's just really I don't know, a lot of dumb counterintuitive decisions, but also it can't. I know nobody asked about this, but it's on my mind, so I guess I'll mention it real quick. But it's also just really super uninspired. I'm not looking forward to talking to that. I almost did a video right before I left town, and then I ended up having to pack and things, and I just didn't get to it. But yeah, and like I said, I'm putting it off a little bit because I really don't want to, but I need to talk about that before it's fully out of my brain.
Even though you want it to be fully out of
Yeah, I really do. And Titans, and I mentioned that because Titans felt kind of like that kind of thing. Cynical for no reason, grimdark, who are you impressing? You know, okay, so you don't have censorship and you're allowed to be as insanely rough and tumble as you want to. Like, congratulations. For anybody that ever wanted to see, you know, Robin throw F-bombs and you know, like really bloody Batman stuff. Okay, great. Like there it is, and have at it if that's what you like. But wouldn't it be nice if you could have, you know, if it has to be like that, if there could also be a little bit of maturity in the storytelling and at least you know, something, you know, coherent that makes sense with characters that I can, you know, be invested in any way whatsoever. At the very least, if it's got to be like a really dark, over the top melodrama, could it be melodrama like Sin City, where like it understands the rules of good melodrama? That'd be great. Couldn't Gotham be more of a Sin City melodrama? And same thing with Titans. That's how I feel about it. Jedi Knight CW Powerpuff Girls is not out yet, so I can't compare it to anything, even though we know some things about that insane pilot. Dagon Spirit, yeah. He says, I mean, when you have a character say that's so Gotham, I feel like they know how over the top they are. They do and they don't. I mean, they get how over the top they are, but it still feels like they're taking themselves too seriously with the characterizations. I don't just mean with how over the top the how do I put it? The violence gets and that kind of thing. I mean, it seems like they still want us to be invested in characters that just don't feel like real people to me. That's the problem. It's dancing, you know, over this line of like cartoons for adults versus a thing that versus like serious drama that I'm actually supposed to take seriously. And I feel like that balance was found a little bit in season 3 finally. And you know, it's kind of like if, because I always compare it to 60s Batman, and it's at its best when it's just really dark, violent 60s Batman. Imagine 60s Batman also has all of these like relationship, like ongoing relationship drama that you're supposed to really be invested in and not really in a tongue-in-cheek way. That's the problem with that. And that's a balance that thing found okay in the movie, where you've got Bruce Wayne who's got a you know, romantic attachment to Catwoman, and they have a fling for a minute. You know, it knew how to handle that kind of thing. Daniel Davis, 60s Batman without the self-awareness. That's how I feel about it when it's at its worst. Let's see, you guys read any good novels lately? I have not been reading any books lately, and I need to be. So yeah, it's been a little while since I've really been seriously reading.
I've been reading Minecraft The Voyage. That's fun. And this really bad guy leaves the main character to basically die, even though he does survive, but he leaves this character to basically die in the middle of the overworld where a whole bunch of drowned can come and get him. And
Captain Phasma, on the topic of bad things, any movies you originally hated or disliked that you've changed your mind on? Watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 lately and liked it a bit. Yeah, I'm not immediately coming up with anything that I just hated that reevaluating it later or watching it again, you know, several years later, I suddenly liked a lot more. The first thing that comes to mind, and you'll see a review of this in a few weeks because Jason and I shot the video and we've not posted it yet, but I had the best viewing of Men in Black 3 that I've ever had when Jason and I watched through the Men in Black movies to talk about them. And I mean, I didn't think that was a terrible movie, but I wasn't super impressed with it. It's better than 2, but there's no, you know, standard of quality is so low there. But watching 3, I enjoyed it a lot more.
Oh yeah, it's a good movie, and I'll talk about it later. I mean, I talked about it, but you'll see me talk about it in that review.
Dagon Spear, I don't think you talked about Jerome having a band play the Batman Season 6 theme in Season 4. No, I forgot about that. Busted Sim, that's a good question, man. Sounds like a personal problem. Why is it MIB2 the only one I own? David 22, why is 70s Spider-Man not as remembered as 60s Batman? Because it wasn't the phenomenon that show was. It didn't create Spider-Mania in the same way Batman did. It was a much more kind of generic show. If you go back and look at that, it didn't have a colorful cast of characters. It for the most part, just had Peter Parker as a character from the comics that anybody knew. And after that, I mean, it didn't have villains that were especially memorable by people. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of that show, but I know that it was mostly guys in suits. Let's see.
Quick plug, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tomorrow.
Oh, I was going to talk more about pinball machines. I got off that. Anyway, what's up?
Tomorrow I am going to post my next episode for Video Game Secrets.
Yeah,
so,
check it out.
Yeah, go ahead and check it out.
And the one that comes out tomorrow is my favorite of the ones he's made so far.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting and stuff I didn't know. So check it out. It's going to be fun. You mentioned this last week, so I think it's fair to mention it again, but he did a video about the GameCube intro, and there's a lot more to know about that than I would have expected.
Yeah.
But I really like what you did with that. Yesterday we went to an arcade, like I mentioned earlier, called 1984, and it has a whole wing of pinball machines, and I played quite a few of them. And it has currently my favorite pinball machine of all time, which is the Stargate machine, based on the Stargate movie from the 90s, of course. And I'm not a huge Stargate fan or anything, but especially that movie. I like SG-1 and Atlantis quite a bit better. I think the TV shows vastly improved on that material, for the most part. Universe is weird, but interesting. And I think would have found its footing if only it had been allowed to stay on. Maybe it did. I missed the second half of that first season. But anyway, I digress. That machine was one of my favorites from when I was a kid. I found it at a casino in Tunica, Mississippi. My dad used to go to casinos in the 90s with my stepmom, and we would go to, they had a lot of stuff for kids at the casinos back then. And they had a lot of really cool arcades and kind of play areas and stuff, and they had some really massive arcades, and the Stargate machine was there, and it has some of the coolest lighting, kind of moody stuff in a pinball machine that I've seen. A lot of purple lights in it, and you shoot a pinball up into the pyramid at the top, which does a lot of fun, cool things. It's got a really good multi-ball that is pretty easy to get. And it's just a really great machine. And then they also had the Star Trek: The Next Generation pinball machine, which is a really great machine, and one I've only played a few times. And it was the cleanest and most new-looking one I've ever seen. Like, I imagine it looks like it did when it first came out, or as close to that as it's going to. And I played really well on that machine. I got like 370 million.
I didn't realize that was even like a 90s pinball machine.
You thought it was newer when you were playing it. No, that's an early 90s pinball machine. It's kind of a heftier board. It feels wider than a lot of pinball machine boards, and it's just got a lot of fun missions and things, and whoever put that together really understood that show. And at the bottom, it lights up for 7 different missions you can do, and I did 5 of the 7. And got all the way up to rank commander, which I've never done before. So
and
that was really fun.
370,000
million. That's what I just said. Yeah. Because pinball machines kind of work in the millions. BuzzSim says they have the Star Trek TNG game. Apparently, it gives them no end of trouble. Yeah, that's what he told me yesterday. Have you been there? Have you been to Branson? Well, guys, we are almost at an hour, and I would love to keep going, but like I said, I'm feeling kind of funky, and my voice is weird, and it's kind of difficult to talk, so I'm going to go ahead and get going. I'm glad we were able to write it out for an hour. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry that I'm not 100% right now, but I wanted to broadcast. Honestly, I thought I was in better shape than this. Then when we started talking, I was like, ugh, I don't feel the best. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate you. And bear with me as I figure out what I'm doing, posting-wise and review-wise and stuff over the next couple of weeks. We may be posting, we may not, we may post here and there. I just don't know what's happening yet because I'm kind of waiting to hear from YouTube about the whole monetization thing, like I was mentioning earlier. I'm going to be going on a full-on hiatus, certainly at least after the twins are born. But there's several things coming up over the next few weeks too. I'm doing something with Freddie over next weekend, so I'm going to be out of pocket with that, and that's my 6-year-old. And the kids are going to be going to their grandparents' house at the beginning of July because they're not going to be able to be around at the hospital when Sarah delivers, and so I've got to get them ready for that. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I've kind of got to get more geared up for the twins than I am right now. So we may be on official hiatus earlier than I had planned, interrupted by a couple of things that I need to make sure to do. So I hope everybody understands that. Bear with us. We'll be back to full force as soon as humanly possible. And I don't know how long that hiatus is going to be. It could be a couple months. It could be a few months. I just don't know yet because I've got 3 kids already, and raising, dealing with twins that are newborns. I have heard from most twin parents. It kind of takes up all of your time, and you end up just kind of going on survival mode for a long time. And so I don't know if it's going to be like that with us, but I'm preparing for that in case it is. So you guys are wonderful, and thanks a lot for your support and your patience. I really appreciate it. And I just really appreciate you guys. You guys are wonderful. We will see you again real soon with lots more stuff eventually. I always say that in videos, lots more stuff on Geekvolution. It's going to be a little while before the lots more stuff, but hopefully you'll see us again real soon. Anyway, Jayson, thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Oh, hi, DJ.
Oh, hello, DJ. We're actually leaving right now, so...
Oh.
Hey, hang on.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Where's the off button? Is it just the X? Oh, I have to hit end. Okay, bye, bye, everybody.